a lot of brokerages focus on number of agents. We do not care how many agents we have. It is just the volume that they're doing. So like in our Traverse City office, we have 12 agents doing $200 million, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of offices have like 120 agents doing that amount of business. Right. So for us, it was just focusing more so on quality over quantity.
Welcome to The Roll Call, the podcast where we dive into the roles that define us. I'm your host, John Glahn. On each episode, we explore the journeys of people discovering their true roles in life, business, and beyond. Get ready for inspiring conversations about finding purpose and authenticity. Let's roll the roll call. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to The Roll Call. I have with me Eric Walstrom, a good friend, the founder and co-CEO of App Properties Christie's here in Michigan, and has been a wild success, the new 40 under 40 for cranes.
Thank you.
I am amongst celebrity here.
Please stop. One of the worst things, I hate compliments. And I don't know what type of personality trait that is, but it's bad. Like people give me compliments and I can't deal with it. I don't know why.
Is it because it's so far and few between, or is it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that. I think it's just, growing up and your closest friends are the people that, you probably, razz and ride you and all that stuff. And I think I saw something the other day. It was, growing up as a, 80s, 90s kid and just, I don't know, that's just how you lived and survived. So anytime people give me compliments, it makes me super uncomfortable.
Well, you look fantastic.
Oh, you
sound even better.
Man, this is going well.
No, but seriously, we were connected through just by happenstance on the golf course.
Yeah,
go figure.
Yeah.
I get to look at a golf course while we're here, and you don't get to.
Look at you. This is fantastic.
See, I do take compliments. That's good. And again, we've just. One thing that's wonderful, I'll just say a best practice for anyone out there that loves golf and loves hanging out with good dudes is get a good group of people and put it on the calendar.
Yep. That's how we stick to our 4 times a year. And it is the only thing that I schedule out months in advance. That is it.
Nothing business related, nothing important.
No. Yeah.
And actually, I hope my wife doesn't listen to this one because she'll get onto my clue that when things are blocked out and I just tell her I can't show up to something, it's probably one of those dates that we put on the calendar.
Right. Yeah. No, it's the non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable. Yeah. That's the day. I'm doing that.
Yeah. Fair enough. So when you're not doing that, fill us in on how did you get, again, I know you're growing. How many offices do you have in Michigan now?
So 11 offices in Michigan. Started out just one 4.5 years ago. So it's been a fast pace, but it doesn't feel very fast. I think probably one of the reasons for that is our great leadership team. So my business partner Alex and I, we always knew that to do anything well, you need great leadership team, and being great leaders and everything is a huge piece of that. So, saying that and thinking wow, that's gone pretty fast, but it just hasn't felt like that because there's systems and processes and everything to that just helps us run as fast. So I'm the runner. I'm the, I guess the visionary or whatever, and Alex is the integrator. So having that duality is very helpful.
Yeah, it's that. Yeah, the dynamic duo is a secret sauce.
Yep, absolutely.
And I mean that's pretty wild. In 4.5 years to 10x, 11x, whatever that number is, right? Aside from a great leadership team, I guess what got you? What'd you do before 4.5 years ago?
Yeah. So always in real estate. Started in 2005, kind of the little mini condo boom downtown Detroit. So was lucky enough to shadow and, have great mentors downtown. And so, obviously before the crash in 2008, there was a lot of things going on downtown, from the Westin Book Cadillac to all these different developments. But at that time, the developers were all separate companies. And so everybody was kind of doing their own thing. And then the idea was okay, everything else will fill in. And so working on projects like the book and Roxbury Group's Griswold project. So got a really good look of marketing, branding, and what it took to be a part of those projects. And then graduated in '08. I think 2 or 3 months after I graduated, the market fell, and '08 happened, and I think my boss called me the bad omen. And so
maybe that's why you don't like compliments. Maybe it's
yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, that felt very, I felt very comfortable with that. I was like, come on. but yeah, so, starting my career off after graduating from Michigan State and just being in the middle of the worst economic crisis in 100 years. I mean, didn't have a family, didn't have all these responsibilities. I was living downtown Detroit at the time. Gilbert and everything that he's done wasn't even down there. So it was just very, looking back on it, was very surreal, like the things that I was able to do, being so young, and there was a lot of opportunities, and you could kind of, pick whichever direction you want to go. But at that time, real estate was either dead or it was only distressed. So like the luxury markets and everything hadn't really come back yet. So the first 2 or 3 years after '08, everybody was just kind of trying to survive. I think at that time I started a little marketing company that we did the marketing for a couple local restaurants and did Our Magazine ads and just all this interesting stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was a great time to be young and, again, no responsibilities, because you had your rent and then whatever bar money you needed to go around. But yeah, so yeah, started my career in that. After being in the distressed market, got really into, investments and development again as the market started to come back. And Alex and I, we worked at the same company. He always handled kind of the construction side of things, and I was always the acquisitions and sales, flying around everywhere around the country and spent a lot of time together. And then at one point we were just like, why are we making these guys all this money? And broke off and did our own thing. So it's been 14 years that Alex and I have been business partners. Was a development company that kind of led into residential brokerage. And then, around 2018, we really started to make some strides and some waves in the residential brokerage stuff downtown Detroit. We were number one in the market, and then we wanted to grow into the suburbs. And that was just a completely different animal, because we weren't, 100-year-old brokerage. We didn't have a legacy. We didn't have a national network. And so there was all these things that we could not offer our agents to help them grow. So that's when we really started looking outside and looking at different opportunities, whether it was a brokerage flag or, local leadership, met with as many people as possible and just trying to really understand what we wanted to do in this industry.
So then you landed on, with that properties, Christie's.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Right?
Yeah. So, like I said, we wanted to grow what we were doing. And I guess our value proposition at the time was we knew development. We knew how to speak that language. So we worked with a lot of developers downtown Detroit, and then we did some stuff out in the suburbs. But a lot of the brokerages that we met with, they couldn't speak that language, or I think the biggest thing was the value propositions that they were going at that time, which is 2016, 17, 18. Everybody was in the brokerage world was trying, it still is kind of a race to the bottom. So how do we get cheaper?
Yeah,
and so there was a lot of, every single year transaction numbers increased. So everybody was trying to, give agents a better deal. And when it was great, because we were a $100 million brokerage at that time. And so everybody wanted to meet with us and try and, recruit us over. So we got the inside look of every single brand you can think of, all the big national ones, all the big local ones. And they just kind of laid out,
here's the plan to come over.
Here's the plan to come over. Here's what we offer. Here's all these things. And every single meeting, it was, I don't know, I guess I won't say any names, but just, it was not a value. It was just a better deal.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it was like, okay, but you're not actually giving the agents a lot of valuable tools or pieces to help them grow their business. And so that was our, I guess, aha moment of, okay, there's got to be a better way, and we can, figure something out. So after we met with all the local in-state brokerages, we started looking outside the state, and that's where At Properties Christie's came along, who they started in 2000 in Chicago, grew to the number one brokerage there very quickly with marketing technology and all these tools and systems to provide to the agents to help them do more business. And so like in our industry, or as an owner of a brokerage, the client, the end consumer, the buyer, seller, like obviously they're the client, but the way that we think about it, the agent is the client for us. So our agents are our clients, and if we focus on the services that we provide them, and we provide really good services, they will provide better services to the end client.
Yeah, and then therefore, what do you know? More business will follow, right?
Yeah,
Because you're that's what's an interesting part of that business, right? Because I do hear most of the time when I speak to someone in the real estate game, certainly a brokerage, it's about how many agents do they have? Like that's the, right. It's like, that's how much money I get, like that's so it is. It's like, okay, well, all right, well, how many? What does that translate into? What does that mean, right?
Yeah.
And so you're essentially, and by the way, you could have 400 of them, and 360 of them just happen to have their license and might not actually be practicing, or right. So it's just always just an arbitrary number,
right?
But they're all their own little entrepreneur in their own way, right? They run their own business.
Yep, they are.
Most of them
they're
are, right?
an independent contractor, and they wake up every single day and have to earn the business. So
yeah, and so they're either you're helping them by they get a nice building that they get to put their stuff in, so people walk by, or what are you doing? Like, why wouldn't they just, if they're doing all the work? In most of their minds, probably, I'm doing all the work. People are buying from me. Like, what the hell do I need all this stuff for?
Right.
So
yeah, I think. Well, especially at that time, because we made the jump to At Christie's in 2020. Sorry, so it was COVID. So great time. I mean, honestly, it was the best time. I mean, when we do things, we choose like global like meltdowns. Like, hey, this is going to be a great time to do this. So we had 2008, and then the pandemic. But again, at that time, a lot of brokerages, especially traditional brokerages, they were scaling back offices. They were getting rid of offices. Right. It was this whole concept of virtual care and, whatever. I think some of the brokerages even went as far as like creating, avatars and like in like a sim environment. It was just, yeah. So it was like, I don't know. I won't get into that, but it was comical, like what they were doing as quote unquote innovation. And so what we wanted to do was, again, just kind of a more traditional approach, using technology, using marketing, using all these systems and tools, and creating a better experience for the agent and better experience for the client. So while everybody else was getting rid of offices because it was a huge overhead and a huge cost, we just doubled down and got the best offices. We got pretty good deals because of the time we got in, but every single one of our offices is usually on, Main and Main, or Main and Center Street, or whatever, right downtown. So visibility's there. And then we go in and just do pretty much an entire gut job on whatever's there to make it a great environment for the agents, a great environment for clients. So when they have closings, they have, a beverage menu, and just create another level of experience for the agent and the client that, I mean, buying a house is a very stressful thing. I think it's top 3 or top 2.
Yeah.
And so how do you alleviate that and put professionals in? So for us, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of brokerages focus on number of agents. We do not care how many agents we have. It is just the volume that they're doing. So like in our Traverse City office, we have 12 agents doing $200 million, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of offices have like 120 agents doing that amount of business. Right. So for us, it was just focusing more so on quality over quantity. And in this industry, that kind of protects you against a lot of disruption. And that's how we've been able to kind of do it at the scale that we have and still stay connected to our agents. Like we just did our Q4 meeting downtown, and we had 220 agents out of 280. And, we all know them by first name, and it's getting a little bit harder, but yeah, so like still keeping it a close knit group and And the way that we're able to do that is the technology that we have through marketing and transaction and just all this stuff to make the agent's life easier. We use that every single day just to create efficiencies for the process, which in the end just creates a better process for, you, the buyer or seller.
Yeah, right. So what is it like? Help me understand, what are you doing to make it easier for them?
So a lot of the time that agents spend just on a daily basis, marketing is a big piece of that. So, preparing the collateral, a lot of brokerages don't have like in-house marketing departments, so the agent has to they're an independent contractor.
Yeah.
Essentially, and so the past 15 years in the brokerage world, it was, a big push for like the agents to create their own brand and like do that, and the logo and color scheme and everything, which is fine. But once they get into it, it's just very messy, and it's difficult it's a distraction. It's very difficult for agents to maintain that brand and do everything they need to do, marketing, social, and then also provide the client a good service. Yeah. So we try and take all of those things off the agent's hands. So marketing, transaction assistance, we have our own internal technology that just, if they're on the go, they can call someone and get a purchase agreement drafted. Like everything is reviewed and all that for compliance, but it just makes their life easier because the agents that we have in the brokerage understand that this business is very relationship based, and a lot of businesses are, and I think a lot of people have gotten away from that, of like having that close personal relationship. And so we try and take as many things off their plate to allow them to spend time with their clients, to do community events, to do whatever they can to just get involved, because ultimately those are going to be the best performing agents who have the support in the back end so that they can just do what they do. And I mean, most agents are, out there and very personal and just, care and everything. So that, I think that's, the good ones. That's what we do better than anybody else, is we take a lot of those things off the agent's plate and allow them to just run as fast as they can.
Yeah, that sounds like you're adding extra cost to provide extra value.
Yes.
Because you see the value.
Correct. Yeah. And it is a lot of extra cost. It's a lot of extra overhead. But as we've seen, with the different markets, whether it's a really robust market and there's a lot of transactions, it still proves in any market. So like right now, if you're talking to a real estate agent, it's very difficult because there's less transactions. I think we've had less transactions average in the past like 20 or 30 years because of interest rates and just, things you can't control. Yeah. So, you have to kind of like go back to basics and do the things you're supposed to be doing. But a lot of agents either never did that because business just kind of came easy, or they don't have the support. So they're like sitting there waiting for the phone to call while, our agents have, game plans and business plans and daily reminders, daily things to like keep them on track, not to like throw on a headset and pound the phones, but just to stay connected with whoever's in their, in their sphere, I guess.
Right. And I recall you were, if you'd be willing to talk about some of the extra things that differentiators that you guys might be using or working with technology, et cetera.
Yep. Yeah. So, obviously the AI craze, I don't know. I think AI will probably be like the .com, of the early 2000s of, you still kind of figure out what it's here for. It's absolutely a tool. I firmly believe that, because if it ever gets to the point of, it gets too involved in the life, either government regulation or like some things will follow. But we look at it as a tool. And so what we're developing and building right now internally with our 11 offices is again, more tools for the agents to make that transaction experience even more seamless. So, I mentioned before the kind of platform that we have that just kind of alleviates a lot of things. Normally the agent's talking with one of our transaction coordinators to get things drafted, get over for review, compliance, everything. But now using AI and our internal system, we've basically, kind of not erased it, but we're eliminating a lot of steps in the process to just make it more efficient. So like a purchase agreement document in the state of Michigan would take probably an hour-ish to go through all the stuff, done the right way. I mean, you can get a purchase agreement drafted in 5-10 minutes, but done the right way, with all the checklists and just everything, we can get it done probably in 10 to 15 minutes as opposed to an hour and 10, hour and 20, especially if an agent's on the go or if they're on vacation. I mean, agents never stop working. So whether they're on a beach, on a golf course, whatever, okay, we need to get an offer written, and now they have the support team. So that is like what we're really focusing on now. And it's basically to eliminate, so like our first version that we just rolled out today is to eliminate DocuSign. So we have built our own signing platform. We have built our own that all ties into our documents, and it's fully integrated to everything that we're doing. And then it's also AI based. So like DocuSign, I guess not to name names, but they're big enough. Who cares? But yeah, so like a company of that size, you would think, and this is the thing that I'm learning, a company of that size that is probably, top 3 in terms of signing platforms around, maybe one, they're just not innovating and they're just not doing things. And we were working directly with them and we're like, hey, can we do this? Or can we do this? And like, no, you can't. No, we can't do that. It's like, yeah, you can. You just don't want to because you have market share. So that is the biggest, opportunity that I'm seeing is getting into these other verticals within the industry, within the brokerage industry, to like just continue to optimize, the experience. Because if you start with the customer, the client and their experience, and then kind of work backwards on problem solving, and we have 280 clients in company on a daily basis that we're putting out fires and problem solving with. So like we have a very robust team to kind of build everything and optimize it and then potentially grow it from there.
We pretty well built out in Michigan. What's next?
So Grand Rapids. So we've got our 3 offices up north in Traverse City, Petoskey, Harbor Springs. Grand Rapids is like the last market, big size market that we haven't been into. So yeah, 2026 is Grand Rapids, because what happened in Traverse City. So we never go into a market just, hey, we're going to do it. Whatever, we'll plant the flag and they will come. We never do it that way. It's always either there's an opportunity where somebody contacts us or we get introduced, relationship based, whatever. Hey, you need to talk to so-and-so. They're like-minded like us. And, that's how we've essentially opened every single office, is just connecting with like-minded individuals that they get our vision. We love how they operate, and then we can optimize them so that they're doing more business. And then they're like, and then they refer people over, and it's not like a pyramid scheme or anything like that. Like nobody's getting paid for the referrals, or nobody's in like a downline. But yeah, so just that philosophy, the success that we had in Traverse City led to a lot more conversations in Grand Rapids of, we love what you're doing, and obviously you're doing everything in Metro Detroit. So Grand Rapids will be early next year. We've already got, 5 or 6 conversations that we're waiting for one big shoe to drop between now and the end of the year, and then we'll go in.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. What about, because I remember that you're a partner at Properties and Christie's. I think there's something about that did they bring the tools to you, or some of the tools anyway?
Yeah, initially. Yeah. So the reason why we went with At Christie's, they had a good baseline of tools that that just made things easier. But the thing with real estate agents, and it's how I operate. So I'm not a systems guy. I'm not shocking. So I'm not a systems guy. That's Alex's expertise of like the reins and putting things in process and everything. So they had all these great tools, but what we learned in the first year when we kind of jumped on with them, put those things in the hands of agents, the adoption rate was very small. Because they're doing their thing. They're independent contractors. You can't force them into doing anything. Yeah. And they're just not built that way. Their brains don't work that way. So we saw the agents who utilized the tools really kind of took off, and they grew and they did more business. So we're like, okay, how can we build the operational team of our offices and all of our staff and overhead to just do it for the agents? Again, it's not worth an agent's hour. I mean, like the marketing pieces. I mean, agents would just perfection paralysis on every single little detail, and it would just never get out. And it's like, you need to be doing these things to sell the properties, to get more clients and all that stuff. So now we say, we have all this great platform, we have all this great stuff. We almost prefer agents don't even go in there because it's just, there's very few that can do all that stuff well, and they get in. And I mean, we have a couple of them. Our principal broker does an amazing job, and he always gives us awesome feedback on things that we roll out. But yeah, most agents are, salesman mentality, want to be out, want to be talking, want to be involved, and they just can't get involved in the minutia of like the back end system. So now our staff and the way that we've scaled operationally allows us to do so many things for all of our agents, and the scalability of that has helped because it's all centrally, organized. So like each office is not working in a silo. A marketing request or a PA or whatever is needed all goes into one, depending on departments. Like marketing has their all requests, but they get hundreds of requests on a daily basis. Or we have proactive things that are already, as soon as a property goes into coming soon, we're already doing the marketing pieces for them. And so all those things are already kind of in the queue. So we've created the system and the team for the agents to do things way better than they could, because they need to be focused on the client. They need to be focused on the buyer and seller.
Yeah. So this all feels like magical and wonderful, and like it's a great story. I'm curious how you think the people with this hyper growth, right?
Yeah.
Has it been overwhelmed with this, or has it like been, wow?
Like from the agent standpoint,
or the people, or for you, right? I mean, just like the whole thing. Like, has it been like, holy shit, I'm holding on with both hands, and it's awesome because you love it, or it's like people are like,
I'm sure for me, it probably, I don't know. I don't really get those feelings.
I don't have feelings.
I don't have feelings, but no, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't have a lot of anxiety. I don't like.
You're built for this. I'm just curious, like other people.
Yeah, but that's like entrepreneurs. Like you're just built for it. And so you like get something in your head and you're like, I know what the vision is. I know what we need to do. And you just keep going for it. So like, yeah, you get knocked back all the time. And, Alex always freaks out about whatever, but it's good to put it in perspective. But I think, if you would ask that question 2 years ago, I'd been like, oh yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But I think for us, we've gotten to a tipping point where we have the trust of our agents and our staff. And so they know that we're trying our best and we're not just, mailing it in. So it does feel like we're in a good place. And honestly, the point now, I kind of get kicked out of meetings sometimes because I will like derail and, and go against the system or process. So the company itself and the people that we've put in place in all the department heads and all that stuff, like they're just working really well. And so which is great because then it frees up my time to be focused on either new things, new avenues, new opportunities, but also to like focus on our agents and spend time with them, because I don't want to be, just, he doesn't have time for me. And, our first office of 30 agents, I think we had 25 of them at the meeting this morning. And so it's just really cool to be able to like stay closely connected with them while still like this thing is continuing to grow. Yeah. The thing that we always say, because we saw it a lot of the biggest companies when we were trying to figure out which way we wanted to go, is obviously never be complacent. You never want to be like, okay, we've made it. And so we're just obsessed over finding better ways to do things and provide better services. And if we just, we just concentrate on that, and then it seems to be working out pretty well.
Don't look back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, it is kind of surprising. It's like 4.5 years or whatever it is, it's like, it is wild to, like, if we looked at our meeting notes from 4 years ago and look at them now, or look at our meetings, it's like, how did anyone even trust? How did anyone listen to us at that time? But so I guess that's probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah, I think that's generally a testament to having. Well, it's always a testament to having the right people. Mm-hmm. But also, there's got to be fuel for the fire, and there's got to be someone that's like tapping the brake a little bit to, to keep things running. And so that's clearly a testament that you have a better partner. Than most people do.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm very lucky. I mean, Alex and I say it all the time, and we learned from Thad and Mike in Chicago. They started the brands 25 years ago, and they were very similar to Alex and I. So Alex and I were the first ever franchise of At Properties, and the reason why they went with us, I mean, we were one of the first people to be like, hey, but actually no, so we were one of the first people to request a meeting, but we had an upper hand because we had a relationship with the guy who was running it. And I was like, oh, that's Chris. I just saw him 6 months ago. And so I immediately texted him, and he was like, this is perfect for you. And he actually couldn't reach out because he was under a non-compete with another company. So I needed to make the first reach out, but yeah, it was just very, serendipitous, or just kind of fate of doing this. And I think that's a big belief in our leadership, just knowing that we're going the right direction. And, we're all not superstitious, but we just all have that belief that we're doing the right thing, and you stick to the core values, you stick to, whatever. And then, that'll lead you in the right path. So,
man, that's awesome. That's energizing. Just, it always has been around you.
I don't think we've ever talked about anything.
Just being around you. I don't even want to mess with the business part.
Yeah.
No, but this is fantastic.
Cool.
So one thing I love to kind of wrap some things up is asking for a mistake, a failure, something that that you've experienced. It could be personal, deep, whatever, that you think someone can benefit from.
I'd say it's probably 2 years ago. We had our process, and we had our ways that we went into markets, and the one market we went into, we didn't really follow the process. We didn't follow, we like to get a person who's really loved in the community, or just whether it's top agent, top manager, or somebody of influence that had been in the community for a very long time. And so that was a big success of ours in pretty much every single market. One market, and it wasn't the fault of anyone on the team, but we just didn't have that local anchor. And we just thought we've had great success, and we've done really well, and whatever, it'll be great. And it just turned out to be, the market's fine, but it was just much slower than a lot of our others because we didn't have that anchor, and we didn't follow the process, and we didn't go into it. And so I guess I would say, if you have a process and it works, don't get cocky. Don't get, we're doing great. So just follow the process, and it's very simple. But yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest mistake that we've made, which wasn't really. Fire quickly, hire slowly has always been of ours that we stick to pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll probably say, I'm guessing. If there's anyone, because where I'm on the visionary side of things as well, and so I don't follow process. I don't create process. Right. I am the hurricane that comes in.
Shocking.
So, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that maybe you're the one that pushed to move forward.
Oh yeah.
Outside of the process.
Oh yeah, right? Absolutely. I mean, Alex. I was like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And he was like, sure, whatever. And I'm like, it'll be fine. And things just tend to work out. And again, it wasn't a huge learning
Still worked
lesson.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just a slower rollout. But you have to push. When Alex and I first did this, I just said to him like, hey, we want to do this. And our first big office was downtown Birmingham, paying 11,000 square feet, like big. And so it was like we had to, and we had, some good agents, but like nowhere near to fill it up. So you have to take the risk. You have to, get outside of your comfort zone. And that was the best sell job I ever did in my entire life, was selling that space to Alex. Because he was like, no, we don't need that space. I'm like, we need it. We need it. And just, so yeah, I mean, stuff like that, just, yeah, you have to take the risk for it to be, anything substantial. And, yeah, so I guess that would be a piece of advice.
That's fantastic. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah. I gotta, I haven't had such celebrity, 40 under 40.
We didn't know that they had submitted that. And so it was, I mean, it's great. It's a great honor. But yeah, I really do hate it when people,
hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You've created an incredible business. You're impacting a lot of people.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I think that's the other piece. When we first started doing this, I didn't really like being an agent. I didn't, it just didn't bring me a lot of joy. It was just transactional. So what happened was, we brought 4 or 5 agents on, and then seeing them do their first deal, I was like, oh, this is so much more exciting. I got way more excited for them than I ever would Alex and I, doing a development or just selling whatever. So that was kind of like, okay, I'm very passionate about this, and I want to impact as many lives as possible through, the brokerage. And then, now we have this huge charity arm through the organization that we can give back to all the communities that we're in. So yeah, those are, they're just starting out, but like that is now becoming a huge piece of like what we do.
Roll it out there. What is that? I want to make sure.
So Actives Back is our internal kind of nonprofit. And so with every single office that we have, we select one charity per year, and all the funds that we raise throughout the entire year, collectively as 11 offices, get evenly distributed to all those charities. So, I mean, this is the first year that we're doing it that way. And I think we're up to like $65,000, $70,000 thus far. So the idea is, as the brokerage grows, as we can impact more causes, because in the first 4 or 5 years that we were a brokerage, agents, they're very local, and they're all part of so many great things, and we encourage that. It's like we couldn't give to everyone. And so we did 4 or 5 charities in the first, couple of years. And then now this program, like it can continue to grow, and we can give like things of meaning, and we do time and, go out to sites and do things like that as well. But yeah, it's just been really, really rewarding to like make an impact and do those things in the communities.
Awesome. Love it. So since your target market, your audience is, you want to attract the best brokers. What's the best way to contact the firm or you or whatnot?
I probably contact Kate. It's not me. But yeah, you can contact me, but so Kate O'Connell, who's our president, and now she's kind of built this entire team of, so we have someone who handles, Ann Arbor, Northville. She does Birmingham, Rochester, and then Justin's Grosse Pointe, Detroit, and some other markets that we're going to be growing into. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty, is like it's all connected, and it's all. I mean, so you can go to front, you can walk into any office we have and say, hey, I'm interested in joining. Or the thing is, though, we don't like call anyone. It's all kind of referral based. Mm-hmm. So we only sit down with someone if one of our agents or staff or people have made the warm connection. Oh, there you go. So yeah, so there's no like cold calling or anything like that.
Call your local broker. And
right. Yeah. We'll take walk-ins, but it'll be different. But
awesome.
Sweet.
Well, again, Eric, this has been a blast as expected.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
This is awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to The Roll Call with John Glahn. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe for more insightful conversations. Remember, discovering your true role in life is a journey worth exploring each and every day. Until next time, Keep defining your path and living your authentic self. This is John Glahn signing off.